Hey everybody, I'm Eddie from Eddie at Large, here to talk to you today about RV safety and security while out on the road. Maybe you've been thinking about taking a trek across the country or perhaps living full-time in your RV like we do, but are a little hesitant due to concerns about theft, crime, and just your overall safety. Well, we've been living full-time in our RV for the past 3.5 years, spending about half of each year in RV parks and the other half out boondocking in amazing places like this one. And now that we've got a good bit of experience under our belt, we'd like to share with you 10 tips and theft deterrents that we use to keep us safe and secure that may actually help put your mind at ease. Thefts of bikes seem to be running rampant lately. Fortunately for us, we haven't had ours stolen. However, there was an RV park neighbor of ours that got both of their brand new electric bikes taken overnight just a few months back. Now, they did say they got a little complacent and they didn't bother to lock them up that night, and that's all it took to have $4,000 just taken away. We also have an electric bike, and we always take the precaution of locking it up with what I like to refer to as the ghetto chain. This thing is pretty big, this chain. It's 10 millimeters thick or 3/8 inches thick and has a tapered square link design, which makes it really hard for bolt cutters to bite down on. It also has a case hardened exterior with electro galvanized finish, and that's going to help keep it from rusting. The one we bought from P-Wag was the 9-foot version, and it's no longer available on Amazon. However, Vulcan makes a similar chain and lock in the 9-foot version that is just like ours, and it also claims that it cannot be cut with bolt cutters or hand tools. And really, if you have expensive bikes, you don't want to lock them up with a typical cable lock that can be snipped with a pair of bolt cutters in only a few seconds. You want to invest in a good chain and lock like this. No matter where you decide to camp or park your rig, you should always have some kind of security light set up. We bought our solar-powered motion sensing light from Home Depot a few years back, and it's worked very well for us. It has 1,000 lumens of brightness, 180-degree motion detection that's set up for up to 50 feet. It's easily installed and is relatively inexpensive. It has multiple adjustments for motion sensitivity, timing, and brightness. This has actually been really nice for when we let the dogs out at night, and it'll also be a nice deterrent for anyone who gets close to our camper. This next product is actually one of the most important things we have to secure our entire camper from theft. It's the Fort Knox lock, and you can see it right back there. It's that yellow lock right on the hitch. And the Fort Knox lock was the highest quality hitch lock that we could find on the market to keep someone from coming along, hooking up, and hauling away our tiny home. This lock is not only made for regular fifth wheels, they also have tons of other locks for bumper pull trailers, Anderson hitches, sidewinders, goosenecks, and pretty much any other type of hitch that's out there. These are best in class and can only be defeated by power tools or a cutting torch, of which are going to make a ton of noise, and that's going to draw a lot of attention, right? If you visit Fort Knox Lock's website, they'll also have a ton of videos showing how the competition locks are just easily defeated and cut off or broken off, and they also have videos that put their own locks to the test to show you how resilient they are. I'll put a link in the description below for that website and also for all the products that we'll be mentioning throughout this entire video. When you can, we recommend traveling with fellow RVers, and I don't know if you saw them pull in right behind us. We have some friends who we are traveling with right now. We've actually made quite a lot of good friends over the years while out traveling, and it's always nice to have them park close by, not only for the company, but for safety as well. Our thoughts are that thieves or criminals are less likely to target a boondocking campsite when there's more than one rig on the site. So many times we'll just take turns leaving the campsite so that there's always someone here to watch the rigs. We know that it's not always possible to travel with friends like this, and we actually have traveled quite a bit over the years on our own without incident, but it's always nice to have this option when you can. All right, well, this next one is one of our favorites. We actually purchased these Wyze cameras last summer right after they came out, and they've really come in handy. So they even caught a few thieves while we were boondocking out in Pinedale, Wyoming one night, and these people were stealing a can of gasoline from a fellow camper. Fortunately, the thieves really weren't that smart, and we were able to determine from the footage that after they stole the gas from the back of this camper's truck, they then just drove right over to another adjacent campsite where they were visiting. Well, the next morning I alerted the other camper, and we both went over to confront the thieves, letting them know that we had this all on camera, right? So it turns out that these were just some younger kids who ended up admitting, apologizing, and giving back the gas can, and there were no charges filed. We've also caught some wildlife on the cams, which is always cool to see. But the Wyze wireless cameras, they're super easy to install. They're very inexpensive compared to the competitors, and they have great quality of video both day and night. And the battery life is actually really great, only needing to be recharged every few months. And now that we have Starlink, I think you can see up on top of the camper there, we always have internet for the cameras to connect to, even when there's no cell service in the area where we're camping. All footage is uploaded to the cloud for storage, and then we can also access and monitor the cameras from anywhere else, you know, whenever we go away from the rig. And as long as there's cell service, we have access to the cameras and the footage, and we can monitor everything remotely. Before we move on to number 5, I just want to say, be sure to comment down below with any stories or experiences that you guys may have had regarding RV safety, theft, security, any tips that you may have regarding all that, and we would just love to hear that. We do also carry regular locks and braided steel cables to secure items of lesser value, such as our small propane tank, chairs, tables, etc. And sure, these cables can be snipped with a decent pair of cable cutters, but you know, this is just more to keep the honest people honest, as they say. Well, this next one may be a little controversial for some people. We carry firearms with us. And I know many people who would say this is unnecessary and may argue against it, but it's of our opinion to always be prepared for the worst. So I do know that it is very few and far between when anyone out there RVing will actually have their life threatened by anyone. Well, that being said, there have been a few instances, including one that happened right before we hit the road back in 2019, where a couple, James and Michelle Butler, who were boondocking out on South Padre Island in Texas, were murdered right there on the beach. And fortunately, those people who murdered James and Michelle, they were caught and convicted, but it's just such a tragedy, right? So anyway, I do have a license to carry a concealed firearm through the state of Texas, which gives me reciprocity to carry in many other U.S. states as well. So I've been through training classes, and I make sure I check each state's laws before we travel to them for both carrying and transporting the firearms. So even while here in California, the castle doctrine applies while we are inside of our RV, therefore allowing us to defend both life and property if we are threatened with deadly force. So now, exact opposite, you go to the state of New York, and you're not even allowed to technically stop as you're driving through the state if you're transporting a firearm. That is also why you won't see a New York State sticker on our RV map. Okay, this one probably isn't for everyone, as I know there are a lot of cat people out there, or maybe just people who don't want to travel with pets at all. Well, we have 2 dogs, and at least one of them acts as a watchdog. What is that? Who's out there? The other, probably not so much. Anytime we're out like this, our pup here will alert us to anything out of the ordinary that's going on outside. And they'll even alert us to any wild animals or even sometimes cows in the area, and potentially keep them from getting too close to the camper whenever they're barking at them. And on the more rare occasion, when we leave them alone in the rig, we can count on them to be a great deterrent for anyone who might decide to come around. Plus, they're just great company. Changing out your RV locks. Yes, we actually haven't done this one yet, but I know that I'll be called out on it for not bringing it up. So we have thought about it before, and we really just haven't got around to it. And the one RV lock company that we did check into before buying, we found that they don't even make a replacement lock for our camper. And I have seen quite a few videos and read the internet that some of these locks can actually be opened with other people's camper keys of the same manufacturer. We did actually try this out with one of our friends who also has a Keystone Cougar. We weren't able to open the door to the camper, but we were able to use the keys that open the bay doors to open up her bay door in her camper. So yes, it is true that you know, we should probably switch these out. All right, well, once again, these locks are only going to keep the honest people honest, and these would be really quick to cut with bolt cutters, but why make it easy? Just buy a couple of these and at least make the thief work for a living, right? Well, that's it, everyone. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the like button below, and we're going to be putting out more RV how-to content each and every week. So we'll see you next time.